Today we're taking a full deep dive into Limp Bizkit's discography and breaking down every album from worst to first. Before we start, help the channel grow by hitting like and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference. Number 6, Gold Cobra. This was an interesting time for Limp Bizkit. They just released their new album after reuniting the original lineup for the first time in about 8 years. But the comeback didn't land the way it was supposed to. By now in 2010, nu metal had faded from the spotlight, and the world had moved on and fans just weren't ready to dive back into that nostalgia yet. Overall, Gold Cobra carries a more mature edge. It still delivers that same energy, but with less of the playful attitude they were known for. It feels like the band was trying to recapture their old spark while also adapting to the times, leaning into slower, more melodic territory to evolve their sound. What really works on this album is the band's chemistry. With the full lineup back together, they sound tighter and more confident than they had in years. You can hear it in the performances across the record, especially in Wes Borland's parts, where he's finally given room to breathe, experiment, and show what he can do. Songs like Why Try and Get a Life show Wes firing on all cylinders, shifting from metal grooves to quirky melodic lines that are precise and line up perfectly with John Otto's drums.
The band is also preparing a new album for release titled Gold Cobra. Limp Bizkit tried once unsuccessfully to reunite, and guitarist Wes Borland talked about jumping aboard this time with both feet.
You know, our longtime friend and the guy that first signed Limp Bizkit, Jordan Schur, that now manages the band, had just been asking us, come on, we really like to, just, if we could just get you guys to just get in a room and have a drink together, let's just try that first. And
that's what we did first.
That's what we did.
What didn't work with this record was how dated the sound felt, paired with the quality and overly basic lyrics. Very little grabbed your attention the way their old material did. The production does sound cluttered, and with Fred Durst's inconsistency on vocals at times the album feels uneven. There's also a drop in production quality with nu metal legends like Ross Robinson and Terry Date not involved. Gold Cobra was embraced by longtime fans eager for a reunion, but it ultimately fell flat and didn't ignite the kind of comeback momentum the next album on this list did. Number 5, Still Sucks. Released in 2021, Limp Bizkit was finally able to deliver the comeback that had eluded them a decade earlier. By then, the cultural landscape had shifted. Nu metal went from cringe to a form of cult nostalgia. A new generation was discovering them through TikTok, YouTube reaction channels, and even their parents' Spotify playlists. And their live shows began selling out again, filled with younger audiences there for the first time.
These days, every night I'll say, how many people is your first time seeing Limp Bizkit? The whole place raises their hand. It's just, there's a resurgence. It's just happening. It's young people that are reacting to the material.
Unlike their previous comeback attempt, this actually felt new and refreshing. It came across as a fan-driven return, with the band no longer trying to prove anything. The record is fun and lighthearted, and their live performances are too. What really works on this album is its loose and confident energy. The blend of humor and sincerity just makes the record feel less forced than the last one. This project really feels like it's about embracing a new generation of fans, and at the same time having fun with the idea of the band getting older themselves. Wes Borland continues to deliver some of the band's most creative and innovative work, especially on tracks like Goodbye and Out of Style, where his atmospheric textures and angular riffs really stand out. Meanwhile, Fred Durst leans into a more relaxed and self-assured vocal approach that feels natural rather than forced. And the production overall is sharp and focused, echoing the quality of their earlier releases. As for what didn't work, at just over 30 minutes, the album doesn't fully develop many of the ideas it introduces. Several tracks feel more like skits or transitional pieces than complete songs, which at times gives the project a demo-like quality. Additionally, the album pulls back on the heavier edge typically associated, leaving fans wishing there was a bit more bite and a bit more substance. Me personally, I enjoyed the record, and to be honest, if you've got a strong sense of confidence but don't take yourself that seriously, then you'll appreciate it for what it is too. The album didn't rocket to the top of the charts, but it brought in a new generation of fans. This was the comeback Gold Cobra was supposed to be. Number 4, $3 Bill Y'all. This album is a mixed bag for several reasons. Produced by Ross Robinson, one of the key architects of the early nu metal sound, it left a significant imprint on the genre's foundation. With its bold, unrefined production, the band's debut blends hardcore punk, rap, and nu metal. It captures Limp Bizkit in the early stages of discovering who they were and setting the groundwork for their signature sound.
We take all of our influences and we mix them together because we're true and real to all that kind of music. We can't go in and say, hey, we're just going to make some heavy jams. Hey, we're just going to make rap jams, because we don't feel like that all the time. And we're all totally different people. So we get in there, some days it's mellow, some days it's heavy. But, I think our record is a representation of how we're keeping it real.
What really stands out on this album is the bold production and vocal approach. Fred delivers a dynamic mix of scream-heavy vocals, rap verses, and melodic hooks. This is the most emotionally expressive Durst has ever sounded. He isn't polished yet, but he's real, and that helps make this record compelling. Wes Borland's experimental guitar work on this record adds a distinctive and unsettling feel. He elevates even the simplest riffs into atmospheric moments. John Otto and Sam Rivers deliver tight and groovy foundations that are heavily inspired by hip-hop, funk, and alternative metal. However, what appealed to some listeners failed to resonate with others. The album's raw sound was intentional, which made it difficult for more casual fans to connect with. Its lyrics and themes were often criticized, and many of them haven't aged particularly well. On top of that, the record runs a bit long for how in your face it is. Trimming a few of the more unfinished experimental tracks would have made the overall experience tighter and more impactful. This album was a pivotal debut for both Bizkit's rise and the early shaping of nu metal. It captures the unfiltered energy of a band climbing fast in the late 90s. Although certain elements of the album feel dated, it still remains a landmark release. They were still figuring out who they were, and as we move to the next album on the list, that search for identity will begin again. Number 3, results may vary. Say what you will, but I love this album. Yes, it's far from perfect and poorly reviewed by critics, but there was just something about it, and the nostalgia of it has only grown more on me over time. This one will always spark strong reactions from fans. The 2003 release arrived at a turbulent moment for the band. Founding guitarist Wes Borland had departed, leaving frontman Fred Durst with greater control of the creative process. The result reflects a band trying to evolve beyond its established rap metal sound and into a softer and more melodic direction. Unfortunately, that change didn't land well with some of their core audience.
Borland added that as he gets older, he sees himself becoming obsolete in the heavy rock world.
Listen to my inner voice, because it pretty soon I'm going to either have to move on to doing, film or soundtracks or something like that, or give it up, because I'm being replaced by new 22-year-olds every day, who are rocking harder and are fresher and newer and have better ideas and aren't,
Let's start with what didn't work. The album struggles to establish a clear direction. Despite its lengthy runtime, much of the tracklist feels padded with filler, and the softer approach lacks the energy and intensity that defined the band's earlier releases. Musically, the record often comes across as stripped down and uninspired. Critics will say the melodies fail to land, the experimental edge is largely absent, and the album's core message gets buried in the process. With that being said, for me, this album connects on a personal level. It was released during a point in my childhood when life was finally settling down, and there's a calmness in the music that stuck with me. You can also hear the band growing and leaning into more emotional, reflective lyrics. The music still remains lighthearted and showed the band's ability to create a new sound. I love tracks like Eat You Alive, Lonely World, and Build a Bridge. Maybe I am biased, but I can still return to this album and enjoy it. There's definitely a noticeable void without Borland. But if you treat the record as a standalone experiment, rather than a follow-up to their previous releases, it becomes much easier to appreciate. The album managed to sell over 1 million copies, but lacked the identity the next album on this list helped create. Number 2, Significant Other. Although their debut earned the band some early momentum, Significant Other is the album that truly blew the doors open for Limp Bizkit. This is the record that launched them from promising newcomers to mainstream heavyweights and future headliners. These days, the album is widely praised as a defining cornerstone of the nu metal era and a major influence on rap-rock crossovers. But at the time of its release, critics were split. Some championed its fresh energy, while others dismissed it as juvenile and shallow. What everyone agreed on, though, was that Limp Bizkit had suddenly become one of the most polarizing bands in music. What made Significant Other truly stand out was the leap in production and musical identity. With Terry Date, known for his work with Deftones and Pantera behind the board, the album gained a cleaner, more dynamic sound than their debut. The layered and off-kilter guitar work mixed with the funky bass lines and textured samples throughout the album give the band a new sound that is unmistakably their own. Fred Durst leaned fully into his persona, delivering lyrics that were occasionally immature but undeniably relatable, helping cement Limp Bizkit's signature voice. The record also featured a standout collaboration with Method Man, a track that helped pave the way for the wave of nu metal and hip-hop crossovers that followed.
We attack emotions. People can relate. When people can relate to you, it's like you're a cult classic. Bottom line, you go down in history sort of like an icon when you come in and you change the whole way of thinking. You know what I mean? Just your impact was so great, everybody went according to you.
Fred's vocals may veer into overly literal or even elementary at times, but even these flaws have become part of the band's appeal and a defining part of their charm for longtime fans. Overall, Significant Other is widely regarded as the quintessential Limp Bizkit album. It undeniably captured the attention of an entire generation, influenced the culture, and helped shape an era. It's chaotic, immature, emotional, innovative, and somehow oddly sincere. Can you guess which album came in at number 1? Number 1, Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. In 2000, no one was riding a higher wave than Limp Bizkit, and Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water cemented the band's rise to mainstream dominance. The album became both their greatest commercial achievement and for many fans the definitive highlight of their discography. This was Limp Bizkit at their most unapologetic. While critics again targeted the band's over-the-top aggression and immaturity, the album's heightened humor masked moments of genuine introspection, memorable melodies, and polished production. The result is both their most self-aware and their most exaggerated release.
The Blockbuster Award for Favorite Modern Rock Group goes to Limp Bizkit.
In the early 2000s, this record was everywhere. Borland became a cultural phenomenon long before anything could officially go viral. Take a Look Around landed on the Mission Impossible soundtrack, and My Way served as the theme song for what many consider the greatest WrestleMania ever. Fred Durst even became a video game character, and the album remains one of the best-selling rock releases of all time. This record is surprisingly diverse, balancing their signature over-the-top metal with hip-hop collaborations featuring Method Man, DMX, and Exhibit, while also venturing into more emotional, post-grunge territory with contributions from artists like Scott Weiland. The contrast between these styles gives the album a rich, layered feel that moves effortlessly from one mood to another. Overall, this album stands as Limp Bizkit's biggest commercial triumph and a defining moment not only in nu metal, but in early 2000s pop culture. It captures the era as vividly as any time capsule, channeling the band's attitude with a level of confidence few peers could match. Its fusion of genres creates a controlled chaos that resonated at the time and continues to connect with listeners today. Which album hit the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe and help grow the channel.